Hello students, today we're going to begin drawing a brown eye using the Prismacolor 12 set. So make sure that you have all your Prismas ready to go. I'm still in the middle of mapping out my eye, so take a look at your measurements and see if you can use your pencil to measure from corner to corner and transfer that to your paper. I also use this note card to check for iris placement and divided the eye up into thirds, so you can do the same as well. Take some time to make sure that everything is in place. Okay, we will begin with the sienna brown. So go ahead and take your sienna brown, and we're going to begin with the water line here. Just going to add a nice thin layer of sienna there. Take a little bit of red for this corner here. In that corner, we're going to layer that with the dark brown. Okay, so the white of your eye is not completely bright like the paper, so I'm going to dull it down with the sienna brown on both sides. There's quite a bit of sienna brown in the eye. We will put a little bit of yellow in this one area, but we need to have a nice coat of the sienna brown first. There's also a little bit of blue, so we are going to use our true blue for right underneath the base there. I marked where the lash line is kind of wide, so I marked it right there. I could just put a little bit of sienna brown back there, but ultimately this area will be covered with lashes that I'm shading right now. You want to work in very thin layers. Please do not be heavy-handed with the Prismas, because they need to build up. You need to build up really thin layers, transparent layers that all work together to make the skin tone. I'm going to go ahead and define the edge of the iris with the dark brown. And notice how it gets very light right here. Sharpen this a little bit. There's a little hints of violet in here, little hints of violet in the corner. I want to go ahead and add those in as well. Just kind of blend my red in the corner with the violet, kind of dull that red out of there with a cooler color. Same thing right here. Put in those violet tones, a little bit of violet here in the corner. Go ahead and add that blue. I think I was a little bit too heavy with the violet right here. It's your true blue. If you get a little too heavy with the blue, you can just back it up a little bit. The camera distorts things a little bit, so I'll add some pictures to the lesson so that you can see what it looks like off of the recorded camera. The recorded camera does a lot of distorting. So I'm using the black very sparingly. You can put a little bit of violet in here with this. And notice this little gray area of the highlight in there. I'll go into my violet a little bit with this black. Normally we would use indigo for this, but I know you at-home folks probably don't have indigo in your 12 set. It does not come with the 12 set. We will do these. There's lash reflections at the top. There's always lash reflections. You're going to be real careful with these. Have a fine sharpened pencil for this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and skip back. We need to finish the surface around the eye. Okay, so I took some time to shade a base layer of the sienna brown around the eye. And now some of these darker areas, I'm going to use the dark brown to shade away from the crease of the eyelid. And remember, this whole area is lashes, so if this looks a little wide here, it's because from here to there, that's where the lashes will be. There's a little bit of yellow in here. Let's build up a little bit more sienna first before we put some yellow in there. A soft coat in this reflection. I'm just layering a little bit of violet into these last shadows. Okay, so at this point, we're going to add a thin coat of orange over all the sienna brown. This is all just sienna brown with a little bit of dark brown in the shadows. And I'm going to layer a nice coat of orange on top of that. Okay, so I've added a whole layer of orange on top of the sienna brown. Next, what I'm going to do is just add a tiny bit of yellow to some of these spaces. The camera is really sensitive to the yellow, so I'm going to try and put the smallest amount possible. Can try and go into the white part of the eye and just very delicately kind of soften some of these areas. I think we need a little bit more of a thin red tone to blend, just kind of mix like a pink right here in the corner. If you look at the eye, the border between the iris and the white part of the eye, it is a little bit blurred, so making it super sharp and crisp can be a little bit unrealistic. A base for the lashes. And there are a little bit of red tones that we could just be very careful to add here. The red is very strong. Okay, so now I'm just lightly, I'm using a regular pencil to just kind of map out very carefully the lashes, and I'm following the photo. I'm not just going to theoretically go in and start placing lashes. We do have a thick lash line. It does look like some of these lashes that are foreshortened coming out are a bit blurry in the photo, now that I'm looking at them. Okay, bottom row of lashes, but looking at the waterline, there's some details in there. There is a really bright, like if there's anywhere you want to leave the white of the paper, it's right where that waterline hits. Let's put some of those bottom lashes in. Remember, less is more when it comes to lashes. I could add more over here. I could darken this a little bit. I like how you can see the individuals. Like I said, less is more. There are probably physically a little bit more lashes in there, but you know, our pencil techniques, we can reduce that a little bit just to kind of keep the realism. So just a little bonus, we're going to put in an eyebrow. And I marked it earlier where it was located. And that's why I shaded so far up, was to get a base behind the eyebrow. If your pencil starts getting dull, just pause and sharpen it so you can get those fine hairs. So I have kind of bent this eyebrow out just a little bit. You can still thicken it up. You can always add more. It's the taking away that's difficult. There is a highlight here, which is hard to see in the video, but we have, you know, this final layer of blending, which we don't want to be too crazy about, but just kind of going through with your white, and make sure your white is well sharpened. Just kind of blending some of these layers that we've softly added. And I will take a picture of what I have on my paper so you can see what it looks like in Schoology, because the video is a little bit distorted. Try not to smudge your lashes when going in and blending a little bit of white in there. Okay, so don't forget to take a picture and upload it to Schoology. You can add a few more layers to this if you want to intensify the values, but overall it's complete. If you have any questions, let me know.